there are several BB86 bikes that are kind of a difficult fitment for our one-piece bottom brackets. 99% of them are just fine. Now this Giant Revolt is one of those ones that does give us a problem with our one-piece BB86 bottom bracket. But if you have an axis system on your bike, on your Giant Revolt, or you have a Di2 system, this doesn't apply to you. There's no problem because our bottom brackets have this dog bone shape that the wires for Di2 will go around it. This only is an issue, a fitment issue that we're going to talk about with the Revolt mechanical shift bikes. So if you come on in here, you can see this is the obstacle right here, and what we need to do is we're going to have to push it down. Now in order to do that, we need to relieve the cable tension. So I have taken the cable loose from the front derailleur, and from the rear derailleur I have zip tied it in its fully open position. You can also loosen up the bolt here and allow the cable to be free. At no point do we need to pull them out. All we're trying to do is get some slack in them. Okay, just like that. Now this one right here, we just want to drop this one out first. Now we have to be extremely careful. We do not want to kink the cables, okay? See how tight that is right there? You don't want to go much tighter than that. That's about it right there. You could really kink a cable doing this. So that's why we want everybody who is doing this to use extreme caution, and you know, don't get frustrated and just take your time and slide it out nice and easily. Now this one right here, we can just push it to the side, and it sort of wants to drop out. Now if it doesn't want to drop out like that, that's fine, because we just need to kind of like squeeze out past it. It doesn't need to come out all the way. And once again, it doesn't have that much tension on it back here, but you can't just pull this thing clear out of the bike. You might accidentally pull the cable out. That could really complicate your life. Okay, inside of here there is going to be a problem with, like, there's like a sharp ridge back here. What I want to do is I'm going to go in here with a little bit of sandpaper, just like that. See what an angle I'm at? I'm not sanding here at any time. The only sanding I'm doing is on the backside. What I'm doing is I'm rounding the contour off the backside, so when the module comes through, it's not going to hit a sharp edge. It's going to hit a nice progressive edge, like a chamfer on the inside, and it's going to help it to just go steer right down into this hole. You guys see this window right here? When we're done with it, this is going to be in line with that. Now at this juncture, you don't have to worry about that too much, because once I get this in about that far, this is actually going to get loose in here, and we can manipulate it. Because like I said, this first stage we're not too worried about. When I say first stage, what I mean is, boom, see how all of a sudden that loosened up? Because there was only about that much of an area that was actually at that 41, and all through here is much larger. We got like this thing here, and we got this thing here. So what we need to do is we need to go in here. If you can see how I just, my finger's kind of blocking it because I was using my finger to pop that line up right on top of that bottom bracket. Let me shine this in there. You see it right there? You can see this one right here. I need to kind of push that like this as I push through. See how that one's clear? And now I need to push up here to clear that one. Just like that. And you can see right now that I am steering it into its final destination. Now this is the critical moment, because this piece right here, we need to make sure that these are still staying loose. We don't want to pinch anything inside of here, of course. And then at this moment we need to steer it right into place so that it's coming into the bore nice and square. And you can see that is coming in nice and square. Now at this moment we're going to put the retaining compound on it. So now that we know we can get it home where we want it, we're going to back it out very slightly, just like that, and I'm going to put retaining compound on it. Before you push this in to the point where you can't turn it anymore, you need to look through this window and you can see the red bushing inside of there. Okay, we need to make sure it doesn't look like this, right? We need to make sure that it doesn't look like this, right? We want it to look like this. It goes from side to side. You see that? See that? Just like that. That's exactly the way we want it. Now we're going to square it back up into the hole like we did before, being very careful not to get all this goop, this Loctite. Actually it's Vibratite, but we're going to go ahead and get that started. You see how I was able to, yeah, now I need to get the press on it, but now we can see all the way around that it is going in absolutely straight. And then we look in here, we're absolutely straight lined up there. Perfect. On all of our bottom brackets, it says on the body what kind of bearings it has. This says 40-30. This one also happens right here on the body. And it also happens to say 40-30 right here out on the flange. Not all of them do say it out there, but all of them say it's somewhere on the body. Now the reason why this is important is because when you are using our tool, you need to select the proper bearing die to go in just like that, right? Because you don't want to select the wrong one, because you would be pressing on the wrong part of the bearing. The reason why we can press with such confidence is because we know that we're not pinching any wires, because we've done our inspections along the way to make sure that doesn't happen. Now this has an aluminum liner on this frame. It's not just like carbon on the anodized aluminum of our module, so it's aluminum against aluminum. So you won't always hear a popping noise like you do, generally speaking, when you're doing carbon. Don't worry about that. That's fairly typical. This is also fairly typical. You'll notice, if you can see, that there is kind of a gap here at the top. At the top of it right here, there's a gap. See that? See that? You notice how there's no gap down here? That's what happens. That's because the frame isn't quite straight, but our module's going in straight. So that'll just show you right there that if that was a two-piece bottom bracket, this one would be conforming to this, and this would be conforming to that, and then neither one of the bearings are actually in line with each other. Ours is a cylinder, it's a hub, so no problem. The critical juncture, and this is what makes this the advanced class. You thought all that other stuff did? No, it is this. Because you do not want to kink this, okay, at this juncture. Alright, so you see that we do have a nice progressive bend in it, but if we want to start getting really radical with trying to push this back in, we're gonna cause ourselves a problem. So what we need to do is we need to pull this back far enough, and you may have to clean some stuff out of here if this thing's been on the road for a while. This could be kind of difficult. But what we want to do is we want to pull a nice loop out like this. See how there's no bending, no tight. It's getting tight. This is making me nervous, but we can do this. All right, so now this piece needs to basically go in straight, okay? Because it's kind of going up. If I can show you guys, it's going like up inside. If you'll come around here, take a look. It needs to go up like inside, but we can't go in at a steep angle. We need to go in at a very gradual angle, which is another reason why we need to pull this loop out. Okay, because you see how it wants to go in at that gradual angle, just like that. And boom, did you see that go in? All right, now I'm left with this loop. That's a very safe looking loop. All right, so now we can pull it. Now we can pull it back in just like that. Things to look out for on any install. We want to see, hey, what if this screw is too long and it wants to go up and hit the bushing? So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and screw that in and then wiggle the bushing to make sure that the screw is not coming up so far that it's trying to force the true drive sleeve over that way. So anyway, bikes are always going to try to throw you a curveball, so you always have to be thinking ahead.